Hi, this is Kevin from GetMeCooking. Before I show you how to add a recipe, let's take a look at a blog post. So here's a single blog post which actually contains two recipes. The first thing you need to know is that everything is optional and customizable. For example, photographs aren't a requirement. Also, don't worry about search engine optimization, it's all being handled for you. So when you press this print icon, it will only print the plain scone recipe and not the chocolate chip muffin recipe just above. The print options shown also depend upon the recipe itself. So for example, if you don't include a main photograph, then the user will only see the relevant options available. The links here are all optional, but if you do turn them on, by default the user will be taken to GetMeCooking.com. However, if you have the premium plugin, the user will stay on your site and will be able to view all desserts that you have posted, for example. You can also create a page which will list all of your recipes. On this page, there is also a section for the latest recipes, which can range from 1 to 10 recipes, as well as a breakdown of all the different categories. You can customize the order, so if you don't want allergies appearing before courses, you can move those around. You can also hide the allergies altogether. You can also customize the layout of the listing. So at the top we have a list of plain scone, chocolate chip muffins and chocolate chip cookies. If you'd like a recipe photograph on the left or the right, then that can be done as well. Okay, that's everything the person visiting your website will be able to do. So now let's take a look at how you manage your recipes and add them to blog posts. With this plugin, you write all of your recipes first, and then in the future you add them to blog posts. This way you can add one recipe to multiple blog posts, as well as many recipes in the same blog post. If you have the premium plugin, then you get this additional column which shows which recipe belongs to which blog post. You can then click on that number and you can get a listing of all the blog posts. I'll now add the plain scone recipe. The first thing to note is that everything is optional. You can add, edit and remove any of the items in these lists. This is where you add the recipe ingredients. There's a section for group. This is where you can add, say, a cake base and a cake topping. This will change the presentation of the recipe, so it's a lot more clear which ingredients belong to which group. If you click and drag this icon, then you can change the order of the ingredients. If you mark an ingredient as optional, then this also changes the presentation. This is where you add the recipe steps. Again, there is a step group feature, which is a rarely used feature, but very helpful when needed. Once you press the Save Recipe button, you can come back and add a photograph for each step. There is also an alt text box, which is used by search engines to understand the content of the photograph. If you were to do a Google search and your recipe came up, then this is the text that would show. If you wish to add a note before or after the recipe steps, then you can do so here. By default, any recipe you add will be added to GetMeCooking.com, but you can opt out of this. Okay, so now I've typed up the plain scone recipe. It just needs adding to a blog post. So you write your post as normal, and then there's this orange icon where you can select the plain scone recipe and then insert it to the post. Here I'm going to add two recipes at once to the single blog post. I hope you give the plugin a try. Please look below to see how other bloggers are using the plugin. feel free to contact me with any suggestions or comments. Thanks.